on November 9th, 9/11 backwards. Interesting coincidence concerning some of the disclosures we've seen today. But anyway, going to roll through some of the news stories that I found today, talk to you a bit about the swamp draining and how I think all those disclosures will occur. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Q today as well, because I know that my video I did yesterday was a little out into left field. But I did that on purpose, and I'll tell you why I did that in a few minutes here. But first, let's discuss all the news stories that happened today. So first and foremost, it's been confirmed that Comet PingPong is under investigation by the DC police, and that confirmation comes by way of, I'm going to call him Titus Frost because I don't know his real name, but I saw this on his Twitter page, and I'm going to link a YouTube video down below of him. But he basically got an email from the DC Police Department confirming that they have a investigator on the case. And, you know, you can check out his video and whatnot for that, but huge news because that confirms it. So, boom, just want to throw that out there. Next, you know, it's interesting that today is 11/9 or 9/11 backwards because we had some more JFK files released. In the latest group of JFK assassination records that were made available today, there was over 13,000 previously redacted records that were made public today, which is actually the largest dump yet. And, you know, that'll take some people some time to comb through, so I'm interested to see what comes out of those. So the latest group of JFK files public, and again, that's not a coincidence concerning everything that's been going on the past week or two for these JFK files to be released now. What kind of message that's sending? That's sending a message, well, multiple messages. One, there's not a single shooter in that JFK assassination. It's much like there's not a single shooter in what happened in Las Vegas too, right? And also, it just completely implicates the deep state in his assassination. So it's almost a, you know, don't touch Trump kind of message with that kind of JFK Stalin assassination. Next, WikiLeaks. They released their Vault8 today, which was basically another addition to their Hive releases of Vault7, but this one they're calling Vault8. And this one is basically source code and development logs to their previously released Hive, but this is just an addition, and it's a major component of the CIA infrastructure's ability to control their malware. So basically, this is another release that's showing that the CIA can impersonate existing entities. Or let me put it this way, they can make it look like Russia hacked people when it was really an inside job, right? So that's not a coincidence on the day that's released either. So Vault8 drop. The Fusion GPS co-founder strikes a deal with House panel to return for dossier testimony. So the co-founder of the company that the deep state, or, you know, I don't want to say the Democrats, but we'll say Hillary, McCain, Obama, et al., hired to create their phony dossier to try to dig up dirt on Trump and frame him. Well, co-founder is going to testify. So I think that's going to be interesting. We'll see what comes of that. Speaking of the whole Uranium 1 issue, a top oversight Democrat pushes back on the Uranium 1 probe, so it looks like there's some ass covering people are trying to do. And lastly, this article I found on Politico, which is cool. Diplomats fear Tillerson transparency push is linked to the Clinton emails. So basically, the Secretary of State Rex Tillerson assigned as many as several hundred State Department officials to quickly clear a huge backlog of FOIA records, primarily dealing with Hillary Clinton's emails and everything concerned with that. So again, none of this is random. It's all going on at very specific times. And, you know, this swamp draining is very methodical in how it's going along. So first, you know, the way I see it going is it has to begin with Uranium 1. And a couple quick thoughts on Uranium 1. I think this was a Russia sting operation. So I think what had happened is that Putin And the guys over in Russia, they basically framed the deep state, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, the Podestas, Obama. They framed them because they used their greed. All these assholes were so greedy for uranium or whatever their money they could get their hands on. So Russia set them up, and basically what had happened, in my opinion, is that Russia gave the U.S. intelligence community, the white hats, all the evidence on Uranium-1. Back in, 2015-16, said, here, have fun, go to town, right? And once the deep state found out that they had been had, that they got bait and switched, essentially, that's when all the Russia propaganda began coming out in about 2016 to frame Trump and make it look like that he was doing shady deals with Russia, when, really, they are working together, but, that whole Trump and Putin trolling the world video I did a few months ago would have aged really well right here. I think that's exactly the case. I think Russia set them all up, gave the evidence over, and now we're seeing all that evidence begin to unravel with Uranium-1. What that's going to lead to is then the Pizzagate and Pedogate exposures coming out, because of course it's the exact same people that are implicated in all the human trafficking, sex abuse that happened, the same ones that did Uranium-1. So we'll have all the stuff on Podesta begin to seep out, Hillary Clinton's human trafficking and murder cover-ups, and her implications in that, everything on McCain as well. Remember, John McCain is definitely one of those. So that'll then allow that to come out, right? Once people's minds are a little more prepped because they finally see Hillary Clinton behind bars with here, it's going to shock a lot of people. Remember, you and I might not be shocked, but lots of people are going to be. So then they'll say, okay, these people actually are crooks. And then they'll actually they'll probably accept this. If this was to be the first one that got disclosed, I don't think it would literally be accepted. A lot of people would think it was Russia propaganda, right? So put it behind bars, get people to accept this shit is true, make this shit go public, and then that'll pave the way for everything else to be exposed. Whatever it is, right? Whether it's Big Pharma, we know that the opioid emergency is going nationwide right now, and we also know Trump's position on vaccines is very clear. He has Robert F. Kennedy Jr. heading an investigative panel against vaccines right now, so that'll be made public. All the false flags, the truth behind Las Vegas, and everything that's going on in Saudi Arabia right now is directly tied to the Las Vegas false flags. So not only Vegas, but 9/11, and all the truth on all the false flags. And it was very interesting that Q was making note of, 9/11, and he was also making note of all the missing money, too, that's been swiped out of the military-industrial complex, swiped out of the Pentagon. So, interesting. It was really cool to me to see him question those things. And then also the secret space program and E.T. and true human ancient history stuff. And, also, quick note, everybody's awareness level, everybody's point on their path is different, okay? Some people might still be learning about big pharma stuff, whether it's like vaccines or GMOs. That's really what blew my mind open 5 or 6 years ago and started making me question everything, was the vaccine stuff and GMOs, cancer cures. Some other people might be a little farther along. I've been balls deep in all of this for years now, When I first started figuring out what was really going on and my awakening occurred, it was quickly into the legal strawman system and extraterrestrials and all that stuff. So I just went balls to the wall with it. So that's why I understand that the video that I did yesterday about speculating on all of Q's questions as to it being like free energy disclosure and all that might have been way out of left field for some people, way over a lot of people's heads. But I did that on purpose. And that's the point I want to note right now, in that by me doing that, I was pushing the envelope. I was pressing people's belief systems. Do you see? Pressing their consciousness, expanding it. I'm not going to sit here and reiterate the same speculations and the same points that a lot of other people are going to do. I have my own experiences. I have my own interests and my own perspectives. So, I'm just going to share that here. I know some of the shit I talk about might be crazy to some, but that's required. A comfort zone's a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So here's a couple words I want to make on Q really quick. He's vague for a reason. He, it, them, she, whoever's making all these questions and throwing these hints onto 4chan, they're vague for a reason, okay? And in yesterday's video on the update that he threw onto 4chan, I speculated that CC might have meant Commander-in-Chief. Could be. But I saw another speculation, and this was, you know, I mentioned the Victory to the Light, or Victory on the Light Twitter handle on here. I'm going to mention another one. His name goes by the name of Kabamur. I'll link it down below, his Twitter handle. He speculated it might be collective consciousness. And, you know, at the deepest level, maybe it is. Maybe there's no wrong answers. Because for him to put so many questions out there, it leaves so much to the imagination. And there's meant to be double and triple truths in everything that's being posed. Because what that's doing is that it's allowing us to use our imaginations to entertain what it might mean, and then we're getting so excited that we're taking up the opportunity and to do our own research, right? So all this excitement, all this intention, all of these possibilities that are in everybody's minds with all of these, you know, oh, what does White Rabbit mean? What does Mystery Machine mean? Does Mystery Machine mean the Scooby-Doo machine, Hillary Clinton's van, or does it mean some kind of electrogravitic, you know, Black Project triangle? There's so many different possibilities, but what that's doing is putting it all into people's heads. And you got to understand, all of our consciousness is connected. It's collective consciousness. We're all individuals, but we're all linked up at the same time. So with all of these ideas in everybody's heads, and with everybody so excited, that makes the power of manifestation faster. And, you know, that's the deepest reason as to this being the way it is, you know? Mystery Machine. There was the other one on, White Rabbit. I saw a great, the piece out of The Matrix today. It was the White Rabbit scene, when he was on his computer before he was about to get unplugged, and it said, "Follow the White Rabbit." What? Is it referencing that? Yes, and White Rabbit could also be referencing, I mean, like last night, I made the speculation that it's free energy disclosure. Well, Jesus, right? Just today, I saw a picture of a Nikola Tesla experiment where he was electrifying a white rabbit. Follow the White Rabbit, right? Multiple answers. My answer is just way out there, and again, I'm doing that on purpose to expand the consciousness and to just get these ideas out there that it's possible. Do I expect some free energy to occur like Friday or Saturday? No, I don't expect it to be that, that pivotal or that intense. I think it's going to be more of a kind of slow roll, multi-week, month process, much like I outlined up here. But again, you know, it's all possibilities. The more of us focusing on certain possibilities allow that to happen. So White Rabbit, man, could have been Nikola Tesla, could have been a Matrix reference, just meaning that we all need to unplug ourselves. Mystery Machine could have been Hillary Clinton's van, could have been some Scooby-Doo reference. You know, them meddling kids taking down the deep state. Could have been Hillary Clinton's van that's often referenced as being a Scooby-Doo van. There's multiple layers of meaning to everything he's posting. So that's just, that's why I also mentioned it's almost like it's a channeling, right? It's almost like it's these metaphors that are being given to us. That's why I don't think it's like a human, you know, or if it is a human, they're being like influenced by some kind of divine or galactic force to say these things because it just seems that way. It's almost like biblical in of sorts. It's like there's metaphors upon metaphors and every truth is true. And it's just put out there to give you hints, breadcrumbs, like he keeps posting about, right? So that's just a few words that I wanted to make on that. I still am, you know, again, I think it's just my feeling right now that Q is legit. I could be wrong, you know, if this all turns out to be an elaborate role play, I have no issue in changing my mind, which is very important. I'm not tied up in any specific belief system, but hey man, that's the point, is that you don't want to be tied up in any belief system. Everything is freaking possible. So I think that's all for today, folks. Thank you all for watching. Post this one. Probably be back tomorrow. So anyway, take care, guys.